What's goody? Hey man, so last night was a very interesting night of the NBA. We got Steph Curry going out there and going nuclear, hitting eight straight, hitting eight threes, not missing a three in the game and everything like that. But the biggest thing that happened to me was Jimmy Butler's press conference, and I think it was after they played like the Pacers or something and they lost. Jimmy Butler had like his back-to-back 9-point games, and we'll get to all that in a second. In this press conference, Jimmy Butler was like asked questions about, how he feels about basketball and everything like that. Jimmy Butler's talking about how he feel like he needs to find his love and his joy when playing basketball again. He's talking about how he's happy in Miami, but how he's not, like, off the court. He's happy in the city, but he's not happy when he's playing on the court with Miami and everything like that. And then the reporter asked him a question. Do you think you can find that joy playing basketball here in Miami again? And he said no. And the Jimmy Butler trade market, the trade ideas, all this stuff has been stuff that has been thought of. It's been stuff that's been talked about a lot over the past couple of weeks and everything like that. I even made a video about it, talking about the trade destinations and everything like that. And at that time, I believe that I said that I don't think Jimmy Butler will get traded, and I still am not 100% sure. Either way, I'm leaning towards he will get traded. I'm just not sure when that's really going to be. But, things are definitely looking bad for the Jimmy Butler situation in Miami. Now, I want to start this off by saying I think we all knew that Jimmy Butler's agent was lying when he was over there crashing out, calling Shams a liar for his reports a few months ago or a few weeks ago or whatever. But that lie now looks so blatant that it's absolutely wild. The lie now looks so insane that I don't even get the point of lying about it at all. I don't get the point of lying about it in the first place unless your goal was to add more fuel to the fire of this entire situation. If your goal was just to make this situation in the media, put it in the media more than what it already was, unless that was your goal, I don't even see why you lied about it. Now, Jimmy Butler's agent is a guy that I'm pretty sure we've known is like a guy that lies about this type of stuff in the past, so that's why I think a lot of people believed he was lying. But man, it looks insane now that we're looking back on it after Jimmy Butler's comments last night. And reportedly, I saw this report on Bleacher Report that he told the Heat that he wants out. And after that press conference, it's pretty obvious to me that the time for Jimmy Butler is up in Miami. I'm not sure if that means this offseason he'll be gone or if that means he will actually be traded before the offseason. I think he will get traded before the offseason just because the Miami Heat do not want to lose him for nothing. His contract is up after this year, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look and make sure. But I'm pretty sure that's like the whole problem is that he wants a max and that his contract is up after this season. So I'm super, 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 super interested as to he has a player option next season for 52 mil. Okay. So next season, he's not he's not coming back. If he's going to decline that player option, he's going to go into free agency and he's going to try to get his money. So the Heat do not want to lose him for nothing, or at least they shouldn't. You got Pat Riley coming out talking about, we're not going to trade him, we're not shopping him, we're not doing any of that stuff. And I know Pat Riley's like the type of guy where if he says that he might really believe it. And Pat Riley obviously over the last few years has not done a damn thing at the deadline, so maybe he is literally just not going to do a damn thing again. But I think it's to the point now where you have to, otherwise you lose him for nothing and you look like an absolute fool. Because Bam Adebayo's not having a good season. Literally, like the best player on your team right now is Tyler Hero. After that, you have kind of no hope. Bam isn't doing good. You're going to lose Jimmy Butler for nothing if you don't trade him. Like, it just is bad. And I think Pat Riley took too long to do some of these moves, and now he's at a point now where he's kind of going to have to trade Jimmy Butler for a package that's probably less than what they could have gotten for him had they traded him last year or something. And don't get me wrong, I have no idea what teams are willing to give up to take on a 35-year Jimmy Butler, especially the fact that if you do take him on, he has a player option. So will he accept that player option and hit that 52 mil on your books? Or will he decline it and you're going to lose him in free agency? So then you traded some future draft capital or some young players or whatever for a guy that you only had for like half of a season. I don't think that's worth it for the teams that really need Jimmy Butler, like a team like the Warriors. Like, the only way that that's worth it for the Warriors is if they go out there, they make a deep playoff run, and Jimmy comes back, and you got the hope of Steph, Jimmy, and whatever else you've got after the trade. Like, I think that's the only way that it really makes sense is if he gets to a team where there's a winning culture and where they overperform compared to what they did before Jimmy Butler. So what I'm saying is if he goes to a team like the Warriors and they overperform, they get to the point where they are one of the top 6 seeds in the West, they make a pretty decent playoff run, and the team looks much, much better with Jimmy Butler than it did without, then I think you justify it. I think he would accept the player option. But the problem is, even if that happens, he could still not accept that player option. He could still say, hey, I know you aren't willing to give me the max contract of $60 million that I'm looking for, so I'm going to go out there and I'm going to try to see if another team will. You just never know. So I don't know what teams are willing to give up to take on Jimmy Butler. And I saw Shaq saying that you should pay Jimmy because there are a whole lot of bums making more money than him. And that's true. I believe there are bums, not necessarily bums, but there are people in the NBA who have done less than Jimmy, who are worse basketball players at this point than Jimmy Butler is, that are making more money than him. Okay. But not in a million years would I give 35-year-old Jimmy Butler, the man that has scored 9 points in back-to-back games, a max contract. I think that is absolutely blasphemous to even think of. I think it is idiotic. Don't get me wrong. Jimmy Butler's a guy that is a floor raiser. He is going to make your team better. He's a team that can do phenomenal things. We've seen him carry teams that were not finals caliber teams to the finals. I've seen him make conference finals runs. I've seen him do all that stuff. So please don't get me wrong. Jimmy Butler is one of my favorite players of this era. Jimmy Butler is a very good basketball player. But at the age of 35, giving Jimmy Butler that contract would be a mistake. And I do want to see Jimmy on a team like the Warriors. Like I mentioned, I want to see Jimmy on a team that desperately needs help right now, but I just don't really know how realistic that is, because are the Warriors going to be willing to give up some young players and then potentially draft capital to get Jimmy Butler without a guarantee? And also, to me, if you get Jimmy Butler, this doesn't push you to the top of the West. So it's like, even if you do this, yeah, I mean, at least you get to say that you helped Steph Curry. You finally tried to get him some help, even though it's probably too late. At least you can say you finally tried. Sure, that's a flex for Mike Dunleavy. It might even help him save his job, because right now, in my opinion, Mike Dunleavy and the entire Warriors organization has failed with getting Steph Curry the adequate help in the second part of his career since KD left and everything like that. And I know they won a championship, but really that was Steph. Wiggins had a great year that year, but really it was Steph. If we're being real, it was really Steph. So I just really don't know what else you can do, because if you're the Mavericks, I don't see why you would trade for Jimmy Butler. You did all this to bring in Clay. You got him in. You signed him. You got all that shooting, and now you would tear your whole team up to get Jimmy Butler. And I just don't even think the fit is there. You wanted more shooting. You got that with Clay. Now what are you gonna do? Trade him so you can have Jimmy Butler who takes who takes away that shooting? I don't see the point of that. And then you got a whole bunch of guys in the locker room that you don't know how that's going to go, because then you got Jimmy, and will he clash with Kyrie and Luka? You don't know. You know what I'm saying? Probably not, because they're all fierce competitors. They're all guys that believe that they are probably the best. You know what I'm saying? So it's that could be friction there. I think another team he said was the Suns. Well, the Suns literally look terrible right now. They don't look good at all. So the Suns need help. How do you help them? They're a second apron team. What can you do? You're not this. The Heat aren't taking Bradley freaking Beal. So what are you going to do? You're going to trade Nurkic? Who's another center? I don't even think Nurkic is good at basketball. He's one of my least favorite players in the league, if we're being real. But when he plays good, that team looks a lot better. If we're being serious, when he plays ass, that team looks a whole lot significantly more ass. So, you're not going to trade him to go get a Jimmy Butler. That just doesn't do anything for you. I don't see that, and you know they're not giving up KD for no damn Jimmy Butler. Don't even say that stupid stuff to me. And then you got, the valuable pieces like Tyus Jones. Well, he's on a minimum, so how are you going to make the money match? It just doesn't... I don't know how realistic this stuff is for Jimmy to get to one of those teams that he wants to get to. And I think the Rockets were on there. I think of these teams, the Rockets have the best that they could do. But if I'm the Rockets, I'm holding on to what I have now, and I'm not trying to make a big move until next year. If I'm the Rockets, and I know I'm talking about, I'm going back a little bit, I'm backtracking a little bit. I know I talked about how Jimmy Butler dropped 9 points in back-to-back games, and don't get me wrong, that could for sure be him doing that on purpose, so that his value drops, so that Miami can get as bad of a trade package for him as possible, which would be so petty that it would almost be funny. But still, 9 points back-to-back games while asking for a max is insane. Now, one of those games against the Pelicans, so you were able to get away with it, and you were able to come out with the win, because the Pelicans are literally the worst team in the NBA right now, so congrats. But it's then I want to say it was the Pacers, and then you lose. So it's that doesn't look great. That's not ideal. Yeah, it was the Pacers, and then they lost to the Pacers. You know what I'm saying? Damn, and they lost by 13 points. My goodness. But yeah, I personally just don't think. I don't know what the package is going to be to get him. I just don't know how you do it, but I think it's very obvious that Jimmy Butler's time in Miami is up. And I would love to hear kind of how y'all feel about the Jimmy Butler era in Miami, because like I said, some people have gotten so caught up in this winning. Bro, it's snowing hard outside. It's starting to stick too. Wow, crazy. But yeah, Jimmy Butler, I know some people are caught up in the super winning culture where if you don't win a championship, it means nothing. I think the Jimmy Butler era in Miami has been a success. I think he brought a whole lot of hope to that city, a whole lot of success to that city post LeBron. I think he's easily been their best player since LeBron's been there. And even this year, he's having a solid season. He's averaging 17, 5, and 5 on some pretty decent splits that are compared to the rest of his career. So Jimmy Butler's having a solid season. Now, the problem is he's 35 years old and he's averaging 17, 5, and 5, asking for a max. I'm not paying a player that's averaging 17, 5, and 5 at 35 years old a max deal. That's just me. But again, and I'm not trading my whole future for him either. But that's just me. I don't know what these other teams are going to do. I think the Jimmy Butler era in Miami is over, and I'd love to hear what y'all think about Jimmy's comments and about like what the trade market for him is going to look like, and about what his era in Miami really looked like. What are you going to remember about that era? But yeah, man, the NBA is really interesting. This whole Jimmy Butler thing is really, really interesting. This is a year where there's not a whole bunch of great stuff on the market, but this is a really, really interesting like storyline on the market right now. So I'd love to hear what y'all think. I hope y'all enjoyed that Pelicans rebuild yesterday. If y'all didn't look at it, go watch it, man. It was a good rebuild. Didn't end the way we wanted it to, but it was a good rebuild. It was a lot of fun. And let me know what team y'all would like to see me rebuild next. I was thinking about a team like the Jazz. Now that'll be probably a long video. It'll probably be really tough to rebuild them, even though they've got some decent young talent. But it's just like, you know. So yeah, let me know what y'all think. Maybe even the Wizards. Did I try? I don't think I tried the Wizards because my first one was the Raptors and I failed. So I don't think I tried the Wizards. But yeah, y'all let me know. And yeah, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Keep God in your life. And remember, something I saw on TikTok today that really like stuck with me. It would not be on your heart to do it if you could not do it. So if it's on your heart to do it, keep on trying at it. Keep God first and it'll happen. All right? Just like me with this YouTube thing. I love y'all. Thank you. Have a good day.